Are you defensive in your relationship?
If you are, then you want to listen up. I'm Foxy.
And I'm Robert.
And we're from Love Life Matters.
Yeah. So, look, the topic this morning is around being defensive in relationship. What is it? What is being defensive? I just want to give a little explanation. It means that it means that we have a perceived threat on ourselves when somebody, let's just stick to our intimate love, sexual relationships that we have, but it can be at work, it can be with our children, it can be with family or friends or neighbours, but we're talking about intimate love relationships. So when that happens, and defensiveness will come up a lot quicker in people that we're very close to or we're creating a closeness to in our relationships. So defensiveness is like, it's almost like a perceived threat of some description. So then we go into like, we want to defend ourselves. So we actually start to push and put up some sort of wall in front of us, or at least a fence, to protect ourselves from whatever the other person has said. But however, it's how we perceive that inside here on what the problem is or what the threat is and why we're being defensive.
So this can come up for myself. Robert might say something that I go, why did he say that? And then it puts me on the back foot. It's like I have to protect myself from being hurt. And sometimes Robert might be even the tonality that he uses and just the way he asks me a question, I'll say, well, and it'll just immediately put me into a state of, defense. And I certainly know I've traced this back to what happened for me when I was growing up. I would come home and my father would say, oh, you haven't done the dishes or you haven't done something. And it's like, it was just like that, put me on defensive, like, what have I done right? And sometimes it just be innocently,
what have you done right or what have you done wrong?
Yeah, what have I done right or done wrong?
Yeah.
Is there something I've done right? Focus on that. So my defensiveness is, well, why are you telling me something that I've done wrong all the time? And that's what it felt like, and that's what it feels like. And this comes up. This is how I become defensive. And so what about you?
Yeah, I can become defensive. And I know this one's not completely within a relationship, but as I said, but just this morning I was thinking, like Foxy and I have done a 26-day detox, and we're coming to the last 5 days of that. I'm glad that we are. Now, I have lost some weight. Now, some of that weight is from my belly. I didn't have a real big belly, and I've never been large at all. But it's great that that's come off. But I've lost some muscle mass because I haven't been doing as much exercise through this. But it's a great cleanse. But what I realised this morning is that if somebody, and my past is going back like 20 years, 30 years, etc., even back to when I was at school, if somebody said to me, whoa, Robert, you've lost some weight, I would get defensive around that because of my perception of what that person means. Even if I was in a relationship, I would get defensive because I would think that there's something wrong with me, and I'd automatically want to defend that and say, hey, look, I've been sick, or I've been this, or I've been that, to try and justify why I've lost some weight, because that comes from my perception of when I was younger that if I am skinny, I'm not really a boy or a man, if that makes sense. That sounds crazy, but that's what it was back then. However, now I don't think that way. If somebody did say to me, oh, you're looking, you look as though you've lost some weight, or you're looking a bit skinny, Robert, I wouldn't have that same reaction. So I've let go of what that perceived thing around being a man is, that need to be bulked up and big and whatever. I've let that go.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the big bulk ones.
Yeah.
I like the ones that are like a little bit on the athletic side, that I can cuddle easier than something big.
Yeah. And another one is that, like, if I wasn't ready to own an emotional state that I was feeling right at that time, and Foxy said to me, are you a bit scared right now? Or are you a bit hurt right now? Now, most of the times these days, I will own that if it's true. But however, if it was true, and then all of a sudden she says that, and I'm not ready to own it at that moment, which means I'm feeling uncomfortable to own that emotional state, I will get defensive. I will put up a bit of a wall and try and defend how I am at that moment. If you know what I mean, I'll own and justify my anger. I'll own and justify my frustration. But most of the time, underneath that anger and that frustration is fear or anxiety.
Yeah, so food for thought for you. Do you become defensive in your relationship? I hope what we've shared is helpful to you. And I'm Foxy, and this is
Robert.
Thanks for watching.
Bye now.